I think because I'm like switching stuff.
Yeah. Where do you pull pull this out? Sound good now? Maybe because it was next to my cell phone, because I had my cell phone in my pocket. Like the interference was like killing it. When you do a live show like this, you run into problems, but I think you guys like it. The new culture is Twitch anyway, so you guys see the stuff in real time, and I think that's useful as well. So I want to talk about first October, which October is a nickname for October because crypto historically has done 30 to 35% in this month. In the past, Ethereum is starting to rebuild a 2021 rally, a similar rally, and it could be blasting close to $10,000. Now, Ethereum has been heating up again. If we look at it right now, it's up 4%. It's up higher than of the top 5 or 6 cryptos. Ethereum is up the highest. Once again, it climbed past 4,000, set up a price pattern that is eerily similar to that 2021 run when XRP went all the way from like $800-900 up to $4,600-4,700. ETFs are buying it up. Inflows are ridiculous. Institutions are buying. Rising network activity. Even this news with the Swift network, all of this is fueling talk of a potential multi-$1,000 surge ahead. I've always said that Ethereum was my number one crypto. Now, I still think XRP has a strong path going forward. And when I was talking about XRP had the most potential when it was at 40 cents. It's already up to where is XRP at today? It's always hard to find XRP. What is it, 295? So it's up almost 8-9 times from there. It's up, from this time last year, it's up 450%. So most of the gains in XRP are gone. My target was $8. So it goes up another 150%, we're at $8. That's where I thought it was going to go. But I think Ethereum at this point has a bigger path to go in this cycle. Now, XRP could have more long-term over so many years. But for the next 2 years, I think Ethereum will outrun XRP. People are going to get mad when I say that, but I have to tell the truth. That's what I see. I'll report to you and I'll tell you what I see in the charts, what my team sees in the charts. I can't hide that from you. I have to tell you how it is. And I think a lot of you guys respect me for that. Even if I'm wrong, even if I'm right, I'm going to tell you what I see. So a trend, October, like I said, I want to define that as a trend of October crypto rallies over the historical nature or the past in crypto. So it always, because it's almost like the chicken, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? What comes first? Is it that October is some kind of special month that causes crypto to go up, or does crypto go up because everybody expects it to go up because of the October phenomenon? Nobody knows. But in the past, it's always went up. People are saying that they could see Bitcoin going to 180 by the end of this month. I don't know about that much, but it could be. We'll see. So let me take a look here. Which one is this one? Darth Vader? Yeah, I don't think this is connected. We also have later on in this episode, we have an interview with Vitalik, the creator of Ethereum's mom. So that's going to be a crazy interview. So I hope you guys stay on and wait for that. Something's wrong with this TV. It's not showing. It's on. I connected to. Let's see. Let me see it again. Is that it? Yeah, I think I chose the wrong one. Let me see. But we do have an interview, like I said, with Vitalik's mom, in which she's going to talk about first how she raised the genius. Then secondly, she'll talk about the projects she's working on, because he's a genius in her own right. And people should see that. You don't spark genius unless you're a genius yourself, and 99% of the time. So like I said, Bitcoin jumped 3% in the last 24 hours. Whales have been bonded up like crazy because they understand the power of October in crypto markets. The U.S. government shut down. Stocks have taken a slight hit on some of the stocks, but the shocking thing is that even with the government shutdown, we can see here that the market is still doing well, crypto market. Stocks, I believe, are a little bit down. Let's see what stocks are at today. S&P 50, top 50 stocks in the S&P 500. See, it's a mix. It's about an average day. So the shutdown isn't really pulling down a lot of stocks. I mean, it's kind of like we don't see any stock going up a lot. We got Tesla up 3%, but we don't see a lot of movement either. So it's kind of like a lull day, but crypto is doing extraordinarily well under the conditions. So gold was surprisingly hit a record high. And a lot of people, that's why I said a few months ago that I thought gold would do well. I also said I thought silver was severely undervalued. Now, when we look at all the world of investing, sometimes I put out videos or whatever on social media, and I'll say something like, look, you should probably buy precious metal. And then people who don't truly understand investing, they come back under the comments and they say, why don't I just put it all in Ethereum? Why don't I put it all in Bitcoin? You say IonQ is going to want to put it all in there because regardless of what I say or what the projections are, what the analysis says, nobody knows for sure, including me. I can have a 90% certainty, but one day that 90% is not going to happen. 10% happens, and you lose everything. So you got to have you have to have real estate. You have to have, precious metals. Precious metals are also protection against mass calamity, crisis, chaos, the society falling. It's just, remember, people say, Armando's crazy for talking like that. One is, COVID was 3 days away from complete social collapse. You lived that, so you should understand it. But two is that even if there's a 1% chance, why not protect against that chance with precious metal and with, having food in case something happens. It's a small price. You spend a few $1,000s, buy some gold. The gold's not going to go down in value. You're not going to lose any money, but you're protected if something happens. Now you can buy stuff. Now you can maybe pay for your passage on a ship or something. I don't know. So I think it's a good idea to have some precious metals, even coins or something like it, just in case. You're not going to lose money. It's going to go up in value, but you also have protection against a dollar collapse or some kind of social collapse, which I believe is smart to protect yourself for. Major altcoins are also following Bitcoin's move. Ethereum's up 4%, Solana's up 6%, XRP is up almost 4%. Ethereum just passed that $4,000 resistance mark again into new support. A lot of good price action. Almost $1 billion have flowed just in the Ethereum since over the last 2 or 3 months. Heavy institutional demand. On-chain use is rising. The network is going crazy right now. Active addresses are up 45% since this time last year. Exchange outflows with Ethereum is also low. A lot of investors are holding and also staking. I'm a big believer in staking. That shows us that people have confidence and they feel like Ethereum is a great investment going forward because they're not taking it off the exchanges or they're not trying to sell. They're not trying to sell. They actually are taking it off the exchange. I got that mixed up. They're taking it off the exchange, but they're not putting it back on to sell. I'm sorry about that. That was a mistake. So one of the things that has surprised me is that CleanSpark is coming back. Now, we talked about CleanSpark a couple of times over the past year. Made a bunch of money on, but we got out. But right now, because we're moving into the fourth quarter, we're in October, CleanSpark has just had a stellar earnings call. All the edge signals are starting to collapse or come together to say that CleanSpark is probably going to double here soon, or maybe even triple. I'll say double just to be safe. CleanSpark shares just broke out of a long-term price structure. It confirmed strength last week, and new analysts are starting to pay attention to this stock and its potential. Bitcoin, this is a Bitcoin miner, right? And we've had Bitcoin miners on here before. We had the Hive founder come on and tell us how this works. So Bitcoin, the latest earnings crushed expectations. Nobody expected them. Now, that's what I told people before last year is that people continue to try to apply stock market metrics to crypto. So they look at a crypto company that may be negative this year. And they say that company's failing because they reported negative earnings. Well, that company just bought a bunch of mining equipment. And it shocks me that these professionals in Wall Street still do not understand this new age that we're in. That's what gives us a great opportunity, because the lack of understanding, the informational the asymmetrical information flow gives people like us an advantage for a short time. They still can't understand crypto. So you tell them that, CleanSpark has been losing money for you. Oh my God, it's going on. They start selling it. Now CleanSpark, all that investment they put in last year and the year before is starting to pay off with increased hash rate, which also makes them mine more Bitcoin. So a lot of traders are saying they can go to 25 easily. I agree. My analyst also says it. So with Bitcoin hitting new highs, institutional money coming in, CleanSpark is set to ride all this October momentum, all this momentum into the end of the year. So right now it's traded at about 1450, 1508. Could be a play for options, not financial advice, but if I were going to do it, I'd probably do some options on it. But I'm not going to tell you to do that. You have to do your own due diligence. But it does seem like an opportunity for options. So quarterly earnings blew past estimates, 78 cents per share, and they expected 7. That's how much it blew out expectations. Now, give me that's a 10, almost 11. That's 11 times difference. So that's like at work. Let me break it down. Let's say you're at work and you expect your earnings to be, let's say, $1,500 a week. So you get your check one week and it's like $11,000. You're like, what happened? That's a big difference. That's the same percentage-wise difference as when CleanSpark reported their earnings. 11 times difference. That's a huge, huge difference in what Wall Street expected them to do. That shows us, back to what we said, is that there's a gap in between Wall Street and blockchain, quantum computer, all these emerging technologies. These older guys, these guys that have been living in the fundamentals, they cannot get over that. Remember, understanding fundamentals when it comes to stocks, a lot of people see that as, oh, he's smart. And some of them are. But to understand fundamentals, convert them to a share price, and you say the stock should be this price. That's a comforting thing for some people. They don't have to believe, they don't have to guess anything. They don't have to come up with ideas, no theses. They just say the math says it should be this. So it does take some intelligence to understand the math and how it all works, but it's also a way that people can have something that they can trust in that does not require them to think outside the box. So a lot of these Wall Street guys, they stick to that fundamental trading. It's the shares are this, the earnings per share are this, the stock price should be this, the float is this, there's so many shares that it should be this price. And they just stick to that, right? Because it's comforting. You don't have to guess, you don't have to think. The numbers say it should be this. So, but they don't account for hype value, which is a clear value add in any stocks, crypto, everything now, because we got so many unsavvy investors that don't have information that's trading stocks, so they trade on hype. So you have to account for hype now. You have to account for future growth. And a lot of times, remember, technology stocks, like we've seen in the last 20 years, are relatively new. When internet stocks came out, they were traded at way more valuation than they should be trading at. And people couldn't understand it either, because the way technology works and the way the adoption works is unlike anything we've seen in human history. So the first 95% of the stock market history, everything worked a certain way. The last 5% has been completely different. So it's hard for people to understand what we're going through in the era that we're moving into. Quarterly earnings, like I said, is 11 times higher than expected, which is ridiculous. So we'll talk about some big news here. XRP took a huge hit this week. So Swift, the system that XRP was poised to replace, that moves trillions of dollars a day, announced that they're building their own blockchain payment system with over 30 banks, including JP Morgan and Citi. Early test, they've reached out to Ethereum about helping them with this test. This could reduce the need for XRP, at least short-term, in international payments. Now, the good thing about it is that XRP, has not been affected by this news, which I think is a positive sign. $295, it's up 3% right now. It says it's been really affected by it, but this was a huge hit. And we saw also in the same week, XRP lost one of its biggest, a big person off the executive team, CTO. He left, but it also signals maturity. David Schwartz, I think that's how you pronounce his name, moved to a board role. He got away from being an active member of the executive team after an entire decade of shaping Ripple's core technology. He stepped back from daily operations to join the company's board. Far from a setback, I believe this signals Ripple's evolution and what they're moving into. I think that we also saw prior to this is that XRP was talking about tokenization and how they're going to move the XRPL over to tokenizing assets, and I think that's a good play for them. The Swift thing replacing the Swift network was always a 10-year goal. It never was going to happen soon. I know there's some people out there talking about it's going to happen next year. It's not going to happen. And I hate to say that because I also think XRP could go over 1,000. I think it could go on to 10, but my time frame is a lot longer than these other people. You're talking about decades. Some people say by January. It's a guy out there that got famous by saying January. You can get a lot of views like that, but the problem is, and I do some stuff for views. I'm going to tell you the truth. Everybody has to, but that's not. It's impossible. Bitcoin didn't move. Bitcoin. Remember this. As a lot of people don't know this. Bitcoin moved many times faster and gained value faster than any asset in human history by many times. So in order for XRP to get to 1,000 by January, or 10,000 by January, I think that's what he says, XRP would have to move 100 to 500 times faster than Bitcoin did. And Bitcoin was already the biggest, fastest moving asset in history. That's almost impossible. And I know it just is because you remember markets when they move up, massive shorts, people are going to short it down. They're going to do options. I mean, it's just, people are going to sell when it spikes up. Markets move like this. So if it went straight up, maybe. I still doubt it. But because they move up, impulse correction, it takes a long time for an asset to move that much. And then remember, we have times of recession. We have times when people don't have money. All that happens in that time period. So that's nearly impossible. But over time, it can hit those numbers. But it won't be anytime soon. So back to what's happening with the Swift network. They're adding a blockchain ledger to their existing payment network. Over 30 big banks, Bank of America, Citi, JP Morgan are all involved. The system is built with help from Ethereum, which I said is that one of the Ethereum developers. This could make global money transfers faster and cheaper, even without XRP. I think XRP still has a play, and they still can do good things at what they're doing. They still have a play with the moving assets on tokenized assets onto their blockchain and real estate. But I still think XRP could find a room in the Swift network. I don't think this problem is going to be solved anytime soon with just one or two things. I put out a video about 3 months ago and said I thought it would take multiple technologies really to replace Swift anyway. So I think this is just building the foundation, and XRP will be plugged in somewhere. And some people say, how? I don't know. Sometimes with technology, you don't know what people are going to use that technology for. And I'll give you a good example, AI. AI, if you go back to the 70s and 80s, AI was supposed to make us a more educated society. We would have robots like on the Jetsons walking around the house talking to us. Nobody ever predicted that AI would be used to generate images, videos, and text. That was something that nobody came up with. Another thing is that even something like Twitter was founded because back in the day, if you're older like me, you could only text from person to person. There was no group texting back then. So Twitter came out to allow people to group text. So if you remember the early days of Twitter, that's really why I didn't like it. And I should have actually got on there early, but I didn't like it because in the very, very early days of Twitter, you had to give me a phone number. And when you would text the number that they gave you, they'd send out a text to everybody. So if you were on Twitter, you just kept getting these texts from everybody that you was following. And that was in the very early days. So I just stopped. I just took it off. I didn't like it because of that. That was a long time ago. But that Twitter has evolved into a social media platform. And nobody ever thought that what they started at would evolve. Instagram was a place that we put pictures. Now, how many pictures go on Instagram? It's more videos and lives. And it's not even what we thought. So a lot of times technology will evolve. And so what we want is the bones to be good. the structure to be good, what the technology can do to be solid. And then from there, we don't know how it's going to, like, I don't know how quantum computer is going to be used. Maybe they'll be using some stupid reason, like, making video. I don't know, but I know that the technology is sound. I know that the bones are there. And I know one day somebody, some out there, some genius will find out a position to place this technology in. Same with XRP, same with all these other technologies we talk about. It has to be, even nuclear energy with Oklo. Oklo is doing well today too. They're not being used anywhere. It's all in test phase, thesis and thoughts. But one day it will be. And that's what we're betting on when we make these investments. Pablo is an expert and very popular in the CNC. Yeah, Pablo, I'm going to blow you a spot up here. Give me that. Can somebody go give me one of those awards? But Pablo just passed over $1 million in the CNC today. So now we got 44 millionaires. If you want to join the CNC, go ahead. Join the CNC.com. Learn more about it, whatever. Now, we got the event coming up in this weekend, New York on Saturday and Dallas on Sunday. I'll put the link here if you guys want to show up. Also, I got to... Give me a second. Here's the link. Also, we have virtual tickets. Did Micah leave? So we're giving out awards at the new events. So the awards we're going to give out are, so if you pass over $1 million, you get, we also have awards. One guy passed over $10 million. $10 million in the CNC. He gets an award that looks like this, except the record is broken because we call it the Infinity Award. Once you get over 10 million, if you play your cards right, you should never have to worry about money again. So this is the award we're giving CNC members who pass over $1 million. We also got a $10,000 award. It's smaller than this, but you pass over $10,000 in earnings, we give you a $10,000 club award. So if you look close, this is spelled wrong. They forgot to put an E on the millionaire. So we got to take it back today and get that fixed. But Pablo will receive one of these, the next event, because he wasn't in time enough for the award creator to make these awards. So, but like I said, we got 44 millionaires and we're going to give them awards this weekend. If you want to join the event in Dallas or New York, click the link down there. Also, if you want to stream it virtually, which you will be able to see both days, click the same link and click the virtual option and you can join. Yeah, it's a pretty nice award. I like it a lot, how it came out. Thank you. All right, so one more thing I want to talk about before we get into this interview with Vitalik's mom is Arch Aviation. Arch Aviation, let's see where it's at. I'm not going to be able to find that. What's let me see if I can find Archer. What's Archer's sticker? I don't have you got to type it in. I don't have the, got to type the, delete NVDA. Delete NVDA and put ACHR. So Arch right now is up 2%, but I think that Arch is going to go to $15 to $20 very rapidly. They're racing to bring flying taxis into everyday life. Let me see what time is it? Oh, it's past time, but but I think they're working with the government to be able to provide taxis. for the 2028 Olympics, in which Trump and a lot of other people that are very high ranking in the government promised that they're going to have flying taxis for all the people that's going to come into LA in 2028 for the 2028 Olympics. That's a great opportunity for Arch to, one, showcase their technology, and two, is to make sure it's perfected and safe before then. They're going to launch their first passenger flight in Dubai, over in the Middle East in the next month or so. So it's very early. They're built, Archer, for those of you who know, build vertical takeoff aircraft for short passenger flights. They aim to launch this, what they call a midnight air taxi, a 24-hour service, works like Uber, that instead of getting Ubers, you get into an automated air taxi. And it flies you short distances. Like, for example, if you live outside New York, you go to one of the landing spots, you get into a taxi, and it takes you to JFK. So you fly over the traffic. It saves a lot of time. It also helps with transportation, especially in large cities or in remote areas where people don't have access to the cities, especially in LA where they have the suburbs, or like Chicago, all the suburbs around Chicago. They can all, especially somewhere like Silicon Valley as well, where the real estate is so expensive in San Francisco, downtown. If you can live farther out and take these taxis in to your place of work. So it'd be a lot more cost effective for a lot of people. So it's a great product that they're coming up with, a service that they're coming up with. They're going to be the first commercial operation in New York, in California, and also in Dubai, in the Middle East. Regulatory approval is the next big milestone here in the U.S. They're testing the first 55-mile flight at 7,000 feet altitude. So the company already has raised a lot of money. They raised $700 million this year so far to fund the expansion. Right now they're unprofitable like most tech companies this early, but they're still raising capital. But I believe that Archer could become one of those long-term winners if air taxis go mainstream. Now, I don't believe Archer could go up as much as Oklo. That was a one in every year or 2 years that you call out. But it's a solid play that will significantly outpace the market. We could double here soon, but it's not going to. Remember, a lot of people ask me about BBAI and a lot of these other stocks I call out. Why is it not going up? I'm like, it's up. I look at my portfolio, and then it's up like 117% in the last 2 months, and I'm like, or last like 6 months, and I'm like, well, it's already up. What more do you want? I mean, like they expect everything to be like Oklo and Palantir and NVIDIA. Those are once in a year, 2-3 years. Everything else, you just hope to outpace the market. So now, remember, we do have the event Second Renaissance, exclusive access to tomorrow's wealth. A lot of podcasts and influencers tell you what just happened. We tell you before, and we do that at our events. Second Renaissance, New York Saturday, Dallas on Sunday, virtual for everybody, both days. You'll gain entry to some of the private playbook that's already helped over 2,000 members. And we're at 2,200 members in the CNC. That's where you see the awards and stuff coming up, where we're not like some other one where we use a combination of methods to make people millionaires. Now this is everybody can show up. This is a serious event, not people just looking around, dancing. No, it's not going to be none of that. No music playing. We don't do that. You get in, we execute. That's what you're there for. Now you're going to have fun. We're going to do it in a way that's entertaining, and you're going to meet a lot of great people. But don't expect to get what they call edutainment, because we put education first with a little bit of entertainment. Some people put entertainment first with a little bit of education. Now, we do it the opposite way. So the ticket is a signal to yourself by purchasing a virtual ticket if you're not in those areas or can't get to them. When you purchase something like that, it's a signal to yourself that you refuse to play catch up. You're not going to be like the masses. When you join us in virtual New York or Dallas, you understand that I'm willing to take a positive step to change my future. And that's what purchasing that virtual or showing up even more so does in your life. We're very close to being full. Remember, the CNC is still open, Chestnut Checkers Group community in which all these things happen. So DM me the word CNC or go to jointhecnc.com to secure your membership, claim your spot, and step into the second renaissance. Now, before Ethereum became a household name, before it powered billions of dollars in DeFi and NFTs, before ICOs, before crypto even existed, there was a little boy, Vitalik the founder of Ethereum. A little nerd boy like me. They call them nerds, but we end up, like they say in the Bible, the meek will inherit the earth. Curious. I don't want to call him a nerd. Say curious boy, because I was a curious boy. I called myself a nerd when I was little, but I take that with pride. Curious about math, coding, and the future of money and technology. But every visionary has a starting point. Somebody had to shape that little boy into what he became right now. Today on Future Money, we always go behind the headlines. We step into stories that you've never heard. Join me with Natalia Ameline, the mother of Ethereum's creator. She saw Vitalik go from a gifted child with an obsession for computers to the man that changed global finance forever. We'll talk about the early stages, the hinted at his genius, the challenges of raising him, and also the projects she is currently working on. Let's get into it. We're here with a very, very special guest, Natalia Ameline, the founder of Crypto Chicks. And I'm very, very happy to have you here. And for those you don't know, she mothered and raised one of the geniuses of our age, Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum. But she's also a genius in her own right. So we're here to talk about what she's doing with Crypto Chicks, what she's doing with other projects. And right now, I believe you serve as the decentralization coordinator for Metis. And right now, being a genius in her own right, she's focused on building scalable Web3 infrastructure. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm super excited to share what we've been working on at the Metis Foundation.
First of all, I want to ask you this. So how was it being the mother of one of the people, I've always said is Ethereum is my number one crypto in the world. I've loved it since the day it came out. So how was that experience first before we get started?
Very rewarding. Vitalik has always been a very amazing child. Loved learning, learned fast, and from the childhood, he was really focused on building things.
And did you know he would do something great when he was younger?
Um, you never know what's going to happen. You don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? I knew that he's a smart kid from the childhood, and I knew that he's going to be doing good things. But I didn't really have the Ethereum in mind at that time.
I mean, nobody did, right? It was a different time, but he went along to
Exactly.
create a set of code, Ethereum, that changed everything. And I really appreciate it for that. It gave me opportunities and also a lot of other people all over the world opportunities, not only to grow in finance, but also have a platform that you can build amazing tools and products and services, DeFi and all of that. But you're working on DeFi and a lot of decentralization projects yourself. Now, you're working with Laz AI. So
Uh,
I want to. So tell us a little
yeah,
bit about that.
yeah. You mentioned how Ethereum gave opportunities to many. It's also gave opportunities to me. I work at Metis Foundation, and for those of you who don't know, Metis Foundation is essentially the entity which is behind the innovation in Metis ecosystem, and we are started out by launching the Metis Layer 2 Andromeda network, which was a scaling solution for and is a scaling solution for Ethereum. We never shied away from betting on innovative, not cookie cutter solutions. So, as we were, for example, the first layer two that implemented a decentralized sequencing network, which is significantly strengthens our value across the ecosystem as a more decentralized layer two operator. There has been a lot of talk recently around that and an importance of layer two decentralizing their sequencers. And we're starting to see just now that the other layer two ecosystems, such as, for example, Starknet or Linnea, are all starting to follow our suit. Something that we've done a couple of years ago, now finally coming to the forefront, and everyone's starting to catch up. So this is just one example, right? So we're constantly monitoring what is going on, and we're acting on areas where we see the opportunities. So another innovation of ours is Hyperion, which is our AI optimized infrastructure layer two, which features very high throughput and low latency transactions. And Less AI, of course, which is our full stack infrastructure designed to make AI ownable, rewarding, and transparent and playable, of course. We're also a home for the ZK company, which is behind the development of the verifiable computing platform, Xiron. And their technology is actually used to power ZK proofs and is foundational for Less AI as well, where we've relied on verifying computing tech that is produced by that ZK company. And of course, GOAT network. Not many know, but we also launched the Bitcoin Layer 2, GOAT. And this is the first Bitcoin ZK rollup with real yield. So all these platforms that are truly innovative solutions, very super needed in what we're trying to build. And the foundation is the innovative agent that is behind it. That's where I work.
It's a lot of amazing stuff, right? And then you're right now on the cutting edge of what blockchain can do. And we need people like you working in this field to actually get us from where we are today to where blockchain can take us. So I want to ask another to drill down in what you just said is that could you explain the difference to the audience about what the difference is between a one-off app and what you're building, the foundational infrastructure that you're building with Laws AI?
Yes, thank you for asking that. So, there are tons of AI projects that have been popping up everywhere, right? But from where we sit, we see that many of these projects are just focusing on addressing the single use case, right? Taking some little problem and trying to get it resolved, right? Um, and they really offer, in many cases, centralized solutions. So Less AI is building a full stack infrastructure layer for decentralized AI. And that is a big differentiator. So it's not just an app. Instead, we're building a very thought out modular infrastructure with tools such as Alice SDK, which enables developers to build complex solutions with ease. LSDI also revolutionizes our and really enables assetization via our data anchoring tokens, DATs, we call them. It also enables the IDAO governance. So many conversations today are being held around the importance of addressing this concern of the human governance that really needs important to have over the development and actions of the artificial intelligence. And our IDAO implementation is aiming to address exactly this concern, which is super important. And finally, last but not least, is another important feature of the platform is verified computing that enables the verifiability aspect of AI from data provenance to ownership. It all can be verified on chain. So this foundation lets developers, businesses, communities build their own AI systems, which are scalable, auditable, private, and really moves the needle and really removes the need to rely on centralized black box platforms, which are offered today by the big tech.
There's a lot of great ideas, and I appreciate you explaining that to us. But so in my audience is a lot of investors, people looking to make money either through direct investments in their crypto, tech stocks, or whatever. But there's also a lot of the ways to make money when it comes to blockchain, rather than just investing, and hopefully it goes up and sell it when it goes up. There's also something called DATs, and that's something that you're working on. So how can tokenizing data create a passive income stream for, let's say, for a creator, data owners? How would they possibly earn money from, working with the DATs and what you guys are working with over there?
Excellent questions. Thank you for asking it. So one of the big problems that we see today is how big tech AI companies are hoarding your data, using it for training their models, without you, user or creator, receiving any tangible reward for that or any reward whatsoever. Instead, they're asking you to pay their subscription fees so that you could use what they developed using your own data, right? And we're starting to see some backlash against it. We've seen some recent lawsuit. I think the biggest one that comes to mind is Anthropic one. They used the pirated books from some shadow libraries to train the model. And the authors really brought on the lawsuit asking, well, our work has been used in training and we want to be compensated. So this lawsuit was settled for $1.5 billion. It just, I think we're going to see more and more things like this in terms of the backlash of the creators and people who really contribute, whether it's in the form of data, whether it's in the form of knowledge, and want to have a reasonable compensation for it from the big tech companies. So going back to your question, that really highlights the incentives alignment is super important. It's we believe that the creators, data owners, and the ones who are the ones who should be really compensated for their creations, right? For their intellectual contributions, which is not the case today. So with DAT, so data anchoring tokens, that we introduced, your data becomes an asset. So it allows you to monetize your data. For example, if you are an owner of a data set, maybe it's a trading data set, right? Or a model that you have, it can get tokenized with immutable, verifiable data provenance recorded on chain and with the ownership and the usage rights that are clearly defined. And it belongs to you and to you only. And you can specify, through the controls, what part of the data you want to be used by whom, while maintaining the complete privacy. So whenever a developer or agent is using your contributions, you automatically will earn rewards, and they could come in the form of royalties, license fees, whatever, some usage-based payouts, many forms. And so what it means for you is that as a data or model contributor, you can build a passive income stream while retaining a full control over how these assets are used. And to get the user-owned asset verifiable on a blockchain with a full privacy, and you and only you are in control, and all by earning the rewards. I think that's a very important step, and to actually allow the creators a model, an opportunity to earn from their contributions and maintain full privacy and control.
Yeah, perfect explanation. And I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in working with that to make money, to create income streams, and to protect their data. Now, my background is in software engineering. I was a software engineer for many years before I got into being a commentator on crypto and financial and tech where tech is going, futurist. So I, I got into cryptocurrency early because back in 2010, I was studying cryptography. I was getting my master's in cryptography, and I just heard people talking about it, right? So, and I was studying software security. That's cryptography is a subset of software security for the listeners. So, I understand how important trust is. Trust is everything when you deal with computer systems, especially computer systems that don't know each other or not familiar. That trust in the middle is very, very important. And also, we also know that AI systems are becoming more centralized, where only a few players can own everything. Now, uh, I know you guys work with a concept called verified computing, and I want to know how this concept can ensure users and businesses that they can, first of all, trust, and also they can be certain of where their data is going and how that data and AI decisions are being, the AI decisions based on that data are being made.
Um, as you probably already noticed from my previous comments, the issues of trust, decentralization, privacy are all at the core of our innovations. So trust is built into Less AI at the protocol level. How? We combine trusted execution environments for hardware grade security, zero knowledge proofs for privacy and the public verifiability, and on chain audit trails for full transparency. And that's really the beauty of technology that we're marrying together. You don't need to trust me for telling you that your data is secure and private. With a Less AI platform, the contributors can prove that their data is used as intended, and users can verify AI outputs without exposing their private information. Instead of trusting a company or myself, Natalia, who tells you that don't worry, it's all good, you actually can do all verifications yourself. And we completely remove human trust from the equation. You can trust math, cryptography, and public blockchain ledger.
Yeah, and trust, like I said, is very important. I'm glad you guys are working on that because I believe in the future is that once AI and all this stuff gets very, very advanced, we're gonna have, or even in what I've seen in the last 20 years, the amount of hackers and malicious actors online has grown exponentially. It's every day, all day. People are trying to hack systems every day. I even get on my phone, personal phone call on my personal phone. I get at least 5 messages a day from hackers trying to figure out ways to hack my crypto accounts because everybody knows I have crypto. So I'm glad you guys are doing something that's going to at least alleviate some of this pain. So you guys have a vision, right? A Web3 economy. So how does Lies AI's introduction and launch help you guys set a stage for a new sustainable model for decentralization and decentralized AI?
Yeah, it's our vision from the day one was to build a Web3 economy and be the backbone of it. And when we talk about Web3 economy, as I mentioned, we never looked for simple solutions. We always were big on things like decentralization, privacy, and ownership. Right? As I was talking earlier, Metis has built a number of innovative solutions. And the important part is that they are not built in silos. There is actually a strategic vision behind it. They are all interconnected and one reinforcing each other, the other, and kind of one is building on top of the other, really expanding and laying the foundation for the Web3 economy. So let me explain a little bit more. So, Metis is building a backbone for the Web3, right? Which is we want it to be scalable, decentralized infrastructure where communities own value. Our Andromeda network, which is our foundational layer 2, acts as a settlement and trading layer. The Hyperion network is building on building on it and essentially expanding it. Allows us to expand the product suite to accommodate solutions that require a fast, scalable compute optimized for AI applications, and that can demand, really high throughput, low latency. So together with Andromeda, Hyperion and Andromeda become our decentralized infrastructure layer. On top of it sits Less AI as an application layer. It enables playability, assetization, ownership rights, rewards, governance, and is primed to support the AI-based economy. So Less AI is essentially an intelligence layer. So by integrating with Metis architecture, Less AI brings the verifiable AI, assetization of data, agent-driven automation into the Web3 economy. So all these pillars come together, and this combination ensures that AI is transparent, fair, community-owned, and enterprise-ready. It's really all of that is really sets the stage for a sustainable and future-proof AI and future-proof economy, which is on Web3, with Metis, everything Metis acting as a servant, as a backbone for it. That's our vision.
That's perfect. You got to go on to 6. Cut this out. So yeah, edit this. There's no. Okay, so I guess this is the last question. No, go back up to 4. We'll ask. That's one more question. All right. So last question. So my show is about understanding the stages of projects development. Like we talk about how patterns work as it works with financial products, and also how it works. Business cycles work with tech projects, right? So can you walk us through You guys just had a test net, right?
Yes. So for Lazy Eye, we essentially in in a test net phase. The test net launch is super important for us, right? Because it's our first public milestone. It really showcasing our decentralized AI infrastructure. Build whether it's building with Alice SDK, whether it's using our APIs, whether it's minting your DATs, verifying computation data, or accessing inference on chain. Right, for the community, it's becomes a hands-on access to the ecosystem. It's for the first time it's enabled for the community. And one of the interesting things that we launched with it is Alas Bubu Companion. This is Companion DAT, and it makes the experience playable, right? So Las Bubus essentially are AI agents that have memory, personality, and they're designed for the long-term interaction and kind of value building. They are evolving AI companions that learn from you, remember interactions, and through this interaction, grow. So they bridge the gap between developers and everyday users by making the DATs tangible and rewarding. And all while kind of introducing them into Las AI internal economy, right? Which is super important. So during this test net so far, our AI companion DAT Las Bubu enrolled over 90,000 participants in the whitelisted campaign, and more than 10,000 ATs was minted, which is a really big success for us. So we'll continue refining the assumptions. We'll continue refining our findings through the testnet launch, and that the learning part of it for us is very important, just like for our community.
Amazing, amazing stuff you're working on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And appreciate you stopping by. Could you tell the listeners how to learn more about you specifically and what you are working on?
Yes, as I mentioned, I work at the Metis Foundation, and at Metis Foundation, you can check out our website all the time. But specifically, I think your users it seems like from the questions you asking, really interested in Lazy AI. So it's you can learn more about Lazy AI from our Twitter, which is Laz AI Network, or you can go to our website. We have a great blog on our website, which is also lazai.network. And that blog post is very regular, where we write into community our updates, and you can learn a lot about what's going on with LazAI.
Beautiful stuff. Make sure you guys follow those pages and check out what they're working on. Once again, thank you for coming by. Always a pleasure. And I hope you have a great day.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.